Hello and welcome to another episode of Toya Talks Wrestling. Today let's talk about Raw. I don't know much about Raw. I did not take any notes. So I'm just gonna tell you what I remember and what I seen because I was so tired yesterday, guys. Dude, I was doing the nod. You know when we be nodding all up in your head, be like bobbing. That was me yesterday watching Raw. So I'm gonna just talk about what I remember, and what I don't remember, whatever. You can just watch it somewhere else. Anyways, I know there was a tag team match between Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi. And basically, Asuka is like berating Kairi, like she's always doing all the time, and making her feel bad and shit like that. And it ended up with Kairi getting pinned by Lyra Valkyria after doing the what was her move, her death wing or whatever. And then Bayley and Lyra are calling out Lash and Nia for a championship match. So they're gonna be in the Garden next Monday, so we're gonna have that match, and I'm pretty sure that match will also be a disqualification or something will happen and everything else, and they will be added onto the list of groups to be going on to this fucking maybe a 6-women tag team freaking match at WrestleMania. I don't know, we shall see. And another thing, so backstage, backstage we had Asuka talking to Kairi, or more like yelling at her, not making her feel bad, and saying that, hey, because of you we lost, you need to make it up to me and stuff like that. And she starts walking away, and here comes Io Sky, and my first thought is like, oh my god, yes, maybe we'll finally get Io and Asuka at WrestleMania. And I'm just like, I'm happy, right? Io's like, Kairi, you need to be treated better and stuff like that. You don't need this kind of treatment from her. And then by the time Kairi want to say something, Oscar's fucking yelling for Kairi and everything else, and Kairi leaves. And then here comes Raquel Rodriguez, and Raquel Rodriguez was like going up to Io, and it's like, look, you have no friends here. Rhea left you. Kairi don't want nothing to do with you. And now you want to go help Stephanie Vancouver. You want to hook onto her for what reason? I don't know, and everything else, because you ruined my moment for me to like smash her into the mat, right? And Kyrie's like, and you know what? If I had a chance, I'd do it again, right? And she's like, all right, fine. I tell you what, next week, meet me in the ring. I'll finish with you what I started with her. And Kyrie's like, you're on. So next Monday at Madison Square Garden, we'll have a match between a match between Io and Raquel. I think that we're going to get that match between Asuka and Io, which I'm glad. I hope, because that would be a freaking amazing match, and it needs to be done, right? Oh, we had Becky Lynch cut a promo talking about how after Elimination Chamber, when she lost, she was going to take some time off and everything else like that, but she got tired of looking at AJ skipping around and everything else like that, and like her daughter was singing AJ Lee's song and everything else like that. Like, her daughter doesn't realize that Becky Lynch is the best female wrestler ever. She doesn't say that. All these other people say it and everything else. If you know the gimmick, if you know. Everything else like that. And she said that when she attacked her last week, it felt good, blah, 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 blah. So here comes AJ Lee. She comes in, and she's running to the ring, and Becky Lynch, she scurries away into the crowd and everything else like that. And AJ Lee's like, why are you running? Why are you running? Like, you're a coward and everything else like that. She's like, I'll tell you what, I'll fight you at WrestleMania and everything else like that. And Becky's like, oh, you just messed up, because Becky was like, you just messed up and everything else like that. I'm just like, oh my god, so we're gonna fight again? Okay, whatever. I'm guessing, let's just hope that there's like some kind of a gimmick match, and I think the gimmick match will probably be like submission match because they both do submissions. You know, they got the Becky arm lock thing, and then you have the Black Widow for AJ Lee. So I'm sure we're gonna have some kind of submission match going on, kind of a gimmick going on here or something like that. I don't know who's gonna win. I don't know who's gonna lose. We'll talk about that later when that time comes. But it was a great promo. It was a great promo. I Show Speed was there, and I guess that was like the big star that was there, because someone said there was a big star there yesterday, and I was like, who? And I was like, I Show Speed. And I'm like, no, seriously, who? But he was there, and he had a segment with Penta and Dragon Lee, you know, talking and everything else. And he also had a segment with Adam Pearce, and he was like talking to Adam Pearce. He's like, man, this is great. We got, you know, Brock Lesnar's here, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and then here comes Danhausen, and Danhausen is like, Danhausen, and he goes, who the hell are you? He's like, hi, I'm Danhausen, WWE legend, very nice, very evil. And he goes, I got a question for you. He goes, how are you the most popular person with only 108 human followers? And then I Show Speed's like 180 million? And Danhausen goes and checks the phone. Oh yeah, that checks out. He goes, tell you what, how come you give me your password? We'll hook up together. We can call ourselves the I Show Speed Hansen and work together and everything like that. And I Show Speed's like, no. And Danhausen's like, what do you mean no? You think you're better than me? He's like, you tell you what. Pretty much Danhausen cursed I Show Speed. Said, you are cursed. And I Show Speed's like, curse. And Adam Pearce just walked away. He's like, I don't know. He just walked away. But it was a good little segment and everything else like that. But speaking about Penta, he had a match with Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a rematch, you know, to get obviously Dom's title back. And she had Dominic Mysterio came out with Liv Morgan, and as he was coming out with Liv Morgan, you hear Stephanie Van Cur's awful fucking theme music. My god, WWE, give her better theme music. Anyways, she comes out and she attacks Liv Morgan. So then they started fighting and everything else like that. So now they're fighting everywhere, and it wasn't as bad as Jacob and Drew, but they were fighting all the way, and they fought to the back, and the person must separate them. And so now I guess Dominic Mysterio is like by himself, but he's fighting Penta and everything else like that. And I think after a while you see JD McDonough, he comes out and he tries to interfere in the match, and that's when we get Finn Balor comes back. And I was like, I'm like Finn Balor has to come back, right? Because I mean the setup is too not good for him not to come back, right? So Finn Balor comes back and he gets like a reaction. I was expecting a bigger reaction for him coming back, you know, a bigger baby face, more reaction. I mean, they reacted, but it was not like as big as I thought it was going to be. But you know, he comes out, and then you know JD and goes and tries to attack Finn and everything else like that. And they basically fight on the stage and stuff like that. It was funny, right? Because Dominic Mysterio had like pretty much Penta about to get pinned. Well, not pinned, but he was about to do the frog splash, and you know, Finn Balor's music comes on. He just stops in his tracks, and I'm just like, why didn't you guys always do that? Every time a wrestler comes out, like the wrestlers in the ring, they just stop fucking moving because they hear music. I'm like, can you imagine like just driving in your car and all of a sudden you hear some music and you just stop? I don't know, that's weird. Right? But then Penta ends up getting a roll up on Dominic Mysterio because Dominic Mysterio got distracted by Finn, and then you know Finn goes after Dominic Mysterio, and then here comes JD comes and attacks Finn and everything else like that. By this time Dominic Mysterio got away. He's like halfway down the fucking aisles in the audience, and this JD Madonna just got fucking just pummeled by Finn Balor. That's gonna be a very good match. Finn Balor versus JD. It's gonna be a fucking excellent fucking match. I can't wait for that. But I'm guessing we're gonna get Dom versus Finn at Mania. I don't know if there's gonna be some kind of stipulation match, maybe a cage match, something to keep away the Judgment Day or some shit. I don't know. Not sure. We'll see. They could add another member. Cause they could be like, Adam Pearce is like, no Judgment Day allowed, and then they just add another member to the fucking Judgment Day. Who knows? I don't know. We had Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, and I think they started the show, and Paul Heyman was pretty much saying that what happened to Brock from Oba Femi, he got lucky. He ain't gonna get lucky again. He got his WrestleMania moment when he pointed to the WrestleMania sign. He ain't gonna win. He ain't gonna beat Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is the 1 and 21, and he started talking about like how other people couldn't do what he did, Brock Lesnar did, and talking about like AJ Styles and John Cena, and he talked about Volume named Dean Ambrose, and the crowd went like crazy, and I'm like, Dean Ambrose ain't coming back, guys, calm down. Not anytime soon anyway, but he ain't coming back, and all this other stuff, and he's like it's not gonna happen. He's not gonna beat Brock Lesnar. Is not gonna be beat by Oba Femi and stuff like that. Here comes Oba Femi. He's doing the march. The fucking crowd is like, oh, but and everything else. They're getting excited and everything else. And this time, Brock Lesnar says he's ready for him, right? Brock Lesnar, they get into it. Brock Lesnar hits him in the knee and is about to do it F5. Oba Femi gets out of it, and then clotheslines him out of the ring. And once again, Brock Lesnar sitting there in shock and stuff like that, and he's like, whatever. And then Paul Heyman's like telling him, like, come on, let's go, not now, and everything else like that. And Brock Lesnar's like, he's smiling, he's like, yeah, you got lucky, and stuff like that. And Oba Femi's just looking strong and everything else. And I'm just like, alright, so now Brock Lesnar needs to get revenge, right? He needs to get a little bit of payback, because we can't have it one-sided to where it's just Oba Femi getting the best out of Brock Lesnar, because if that's the case, then Brock Lesnar is sure to win at WrestleMania. Now Brock Lesnar could win at WrestleMania, and then they can run it back again at SummerSlam, because SummerSlam is, I believe, in Brock Lesnar's home state. But because they could do that, or they can just do it to where they can fight again and Brock Lesnar wins at SummerSlam and loses at WrestleMania as well. So I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I would rather Oba Femi get got, and instead of just having him just power have the power advantage or the power chip or some shit like that. So, but that was a good segment. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy Oba Femi, and I just hope they don't fuck him up and everything else like that. Just, oh my god, make him look good, please. But speaking also of Paul Heyman, his vision had matches with the Usos, not for the titles, just to fight. It ended up in a disqualification, and the Vision winning because Logan Paul was about to get his brass knuckles, and then here comes LA Knight. LA Knight pretty much stopped Logan Paul from using the brass knuckles, and then LA Knight throws the brass knuckles into the ring. Now I don't know if he did it purposely, I don't know, but Jey Uso got the brass knuckles and he put them on in front of the ref and hit Austin Theory in front of the ref, and obviously they got disqualified and everything else like that. And Jimmy Uso's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, and everything else like that. and stuff, and I think he ended up like Jimmy Uso trying to calm, like, I don't know, Jey Uso's on one right now. Jey Uso just pissed off at the fucking world. Like, you had CM Punk, apparently he's still mad about CM Punk disrespecting his family and his uncle or whatever, and he's still mad about that, and so he's just mad at every fucking body. He's on a warpath and shit like that. And Paul Heyman was like telling Adam Pearce, saying like, look, I want a match at Madison Square Garden for the tag team championships, and I want it to be a street match. So I guess Adam Pearce was like, I'll think about it. Eventually, I guess it's gonna happen because they made an announcement later on in the show. So we had CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So CM Punk was about to go to the ring, and you had Jimmy Uso was like, hey man, look, I'm just letting you know right now, my brother is on one right now. You might want to watch what you say out there, right? And CM Punk is like, alright, cool, you know. But no, so CM Punk comes out there, and CM Punk's like, did you hear what Jimmy said? I'm like, oh man, the habitual fucking line stepper, CM Punk. I'm like, you know, I'm like, okay. He said that, you know, his brother's on one and everything else like that. And you know how talking about like he don't care and everything else like that. He's like, look, I can understand why he's so mad and everything else like that, but he needs to get over it. And like CM Punk was like basically saying like, you know, Roman Reigns called me old, and he's like, yeah, you know what, I am old. You know, you can tell I'm old, but like when I show my oldness and stuff like that, I'm proud of it and everything else like that. Like I don't hide it like Roman Reigns was just for men and all this other stuff. And the crowd was like, ooh. And I'm like, who cares? And it was just back, like, he was doing this long promo and everything else. And, you know, basically saying that, you know, telling, like, oh, like Roman Reigns, like, last week told his Samoan families, if you want to go and attack CM Punk, go right ahead. And CM Punk was like, you know how many Samoans came up to me last week? Zero. Right? And he starts talking about, I think he mentioned Jay, and Jey Uso comes out, and Jey Uso's like, look here, old man, like, you want to run it back, you want to go, let's go, I'll take you down right now. They're going back and forth, and CM Punk is like, you know what, if you want something, let's go right now. You need your rematch, right? You deserve a rematch and everything else. Let's run it back right now here in Boston. Let's just do this. I'm like, let's go, right? And Jimmy Uso's like, wait a minute, what are you guys doing? He's like, Jay, every time you get upset, you just see red. And I'm thinking, well, he's on Raw. That's the color of this. Okay. Anyways, so he's like, calm down and everything else like that. It's like, I don't need to be calm. I'm gonna take care of business. He's like, Roman's not here. Where's Roman at? He ain't here and everything else like that. He should be here and stuff like that. And Punk's like, yeah, he ain't here. Like, let's go. And as soon as he said there, Roman music plays, and obviously the crowd's going crazy. OTC, Roman Reigns chants everywhere, and Roman Reigns, oh my gosh, like the fucking aura of Roman Reigns. He is like the only fucking person, he's like one of the fucking few people who can just stand there and you can just fucking feel the fucking vibe off of his ass. It's crazy. It's so fucking crazy. Anyway, he's just staring at fucking Punk, right? He looks at Jimmy and he talks to Jimmy. He's like, you had a match tonight? And he's like, yes. So your business here is done, right? And he's like, pretty much, yes. Right? And he goes, you have a match to get ready for next week, right? He's like, yes. She's like, well, respectfully, I'm gonna ask you to leave my ring. So, you know, he's like, Jimmy's like, he's like, you know, because Roman's like, get your brother, get out of the ring. And so Jimmy's about to, you know, he respects his older cousin, you know, the tribal chief. He's like, okay, let me go get Jay and we'll get out the ring. And CM Punk, the habitual line stepper, okay, says, nah, stay, Roman might need your help. And this made fucking Jey Uso mad. So Jey Uso went to go attack CM Punk, and then CM Punk knocked Jay out, and then Jimmy went to go fucking fight CM Punk, because you know you're not gonna hit his fucking twin. And during that time, CM Punk is getting the best of Jimmy, and then Roman Reigns, he Superman punches CM Punk. So now it's on. Now we get some violence from both sides now. So now they're fighting and everything else like that. And CM Punk is like laid out on the mat, and Jimmy gets his brother out of the ring, and Roman Reigns is about to leave. And Jey Uso's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go back in there. Work his ass. Beat his ass. Finish his ass. What are you doing? Like, now, it seems like, you know, Roman Reigns, no, seems like Jey Uso telling Roman Reigns, like, hey man, like, go out there. Get this motherfucker. Like, he disrespects the family. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, like, who is Tribal Chief? You know what I'm saying? So now, you know, Roman Reigns is looking, thinking, like, alright, you know. So he's listening to Jay, and he goes and he pretty much beats the living fucking shit out of sucking CM Punk on the outside. Ended up doing a power bomb on the announcer's desk and breaking the table and everything else like that. And once again, the crowd who loves CM Punk so much that they're chanting one more time. Unfortunately, Roman could only do it once because there was only one table out there. I'm like, wow, like Roman Reigns just listened to Jey Uso, and Jey Uso was like, nah man, go back there and finish him. Like, fucking, this match ain't over yet. Fucking Mortal Kombat his ass. Fatality. You know, I'm like, god dang, man, I was laughing. I was like, okay. So I don't know if I don't want the fucking original bloodline to come back. I really don't. And I don't know if the Usos or Jay is gonna factor into the whole match between Punk and Roman. I don't know, but he's definitely becoming more like right hand man Jay than Yeet Jay now. And I don't know if Roman Reigns is gonna have a match between now and WrestleMania. I can see CM Punk. I can see probably CM Punk maybe versus Jey Uso. Hopefully not for the fucking title, just for whatever. But I can see maybe that could be a thing. I have no idea. But we know, also like LA Knight pretty much, not in this segment, but like earlier we were talking about, you know, telling Jey Uso, you know, you know too much like Roman, and basically Jey Uso telling him to mind his own business and shit like that. I don't know. Things are heating up in this situation and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. I think we have like what, 3-4 more weeks to go to Mania. So we'll see. We shall see. Anyways, that is all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. I do have another video coming out tomorrow, and it's not wrestling related. So please go ahead and be on the lookout for that. It's a really sweet video. But that's all I'm gonna say. But anyways, I guess I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye. Okay, so I totally forgot about the Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman segment. I don't know how I forgot that. But Paul Heyman was in the ring. But at this time, you know, Brock Lesnar, he's gone. The Vision was pretty much knocked out by Jey Uso from the brass knuckles and everything else. And Paul Heyman was like, you know what, I have nothing left, right? You know, Braun Breaker, he ain't coming back anytime soon. Bronson Reed ain't coming back anytime soon. Austin and Logan Paul, they're half concussed from brass knuckles and everything else. And I got a psycho named Seth freaking Rollins coming after me. And basically, you know, there's not room enough for the both of us and everything else like that. And I have nothing else left to do. What am I supposed to do? Challenge him? I'm not going to challenge him at WrestleMania. That would be stupid. Right? But he's like, I have nothing else left. So, you know, he's like telling Seth Rollins, just come on out, just finish me, end it already or whatever, and stuff like that. And then a masked man comes out, and he's standing on the announce desk, and Paul Heyman is just like telling, Seth Rollins, come on out, let's go, and everything else like that. And lo and behold, you know who was in the mask? It was Seth Rollins. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, I can get it if there are like multiple masked men and we're trying to figure out, which one is Seth Rollins, but this time it was only one. And I'm like, why are we doing this? I'm like, look, from now on, if Seth is gonna continue on with the mask gimmick, I need like some like dun 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 or something every time he takes off the mask, or something like that. I need something like that, like like in like the Japanese films when they get, or like the Spanish films when they get up close and like, oh, shocking, and everything else like that. I need something like that. Okay, and if you're gonna continue on with it, then fine. Anyway, so then Paul Heyman sees Seth Rollins and he's in shock and everything else like that. And here comes the Boston police, and they're taking him away because apparently Paul Heyman has a restraining order from Seth Rollins for 20 feet, and so Seth Rollins was close to 20 feet. So here comes the police, and they're here to escort Seth Rollins away, and they did it through like they're going around like the aisles and the audience or whatever. And as they're walking, they're just walking away. Seth Rollins has his hands up, and they're just walking away. And Seth Rollins is laughing, and Paul Heyman is like, "Yeah, that's right. I got snitches in my family," and everything else like that, and everything else. And I snitch on you, and everything else like that. Yeah, that's what restraining orders for. You're supposed to stay 20 feet away. And he's over here talking shit. He's like, "Yeah, you're gonna go to jail, and then your wife is gonna divorce you, and then your wife is going to like marry other guys in the company and everything else." And I'm just like, are you saying that Becky's some kind of a hoe? Like, don't disrespect Becky like that. Come on now. And everything else like that. And then he's like, I think it went too far because he started talking about Seth Rollins' daughter, and said, you know what, that's okay. When your wife loses it and you're in prison, I will adopt your daughter as my own. And that's when Seth Rollins took off running, and he went back in the ring, and he pretty much attacked Paul Heyman. And then they got him, and then they got Seth Rollins, the cops did, and they put him under handcuffs. And I'm just thinking, like, someone's gonna come out, right? Like, someone's coming out. I don't know who, like maybe Ron Breaker's coming out or whatever. But no one came out, and Paul Heyman was laughing and everything else like that. And Seth Rollins was laughing as he's being hauled away to, and stuff and everything else. I'm just like, I would have to assume that Ron Breaker must be returning sometime soon, right? Either that, or they got another member to handle Seth Rollins in the Vision. But I'm guessing that we're going to get Braun Breaker soon. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know 100% for sure, but that is just a guess. But anyways, now we can end the video. Okay, bye.